First, joining me on the phone is the man at the center of it all, the Republican frontrunner, Donald Trump. Mr. Trump, thanks so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Good morning, Jake.
So I want to start by playing for you what Jeb Bush said yesterday in response to your comments about Megyn Kelly. Take a listen.
Come on. Give me a break. I mean, do we want to win? Do we want to insult 53% of all voters? What Donald Trump said is wrong. That is not how we win elections, and worse yet, that is not how you bring people together to solve problems. That is not the way to do it. So your decision, I think, was the right one. Mr. Trump ought to apologize.
Thank you.
Mr. Trump, your response to Jeb Bush.
Well, I think it's amazing because 3 days ago he was talking so negatively about women's health issues, and I thought it was disgraceful, frankly, and I think that will go down to haunt him and maybe be the same as Romney's 47%, which possibly cost him the election. Jeb was very negative on women's health, and when you're negative on women's health, you can forget about it, and I'm the exact opposite. I cherish women. I want to help women. I'm going to do things for women that no other candidate will be able to do, and it's very important to me. So, you know, it's sort of interesting. He then went back and apologized the following day and said he misspoke. Well, he really did misspeak, and I thought it was disgraceful. So now he's telling me or telling you about what was said. Well, let me ask you, what was said? She was very angry because I bested her with a question that was a very unfair question. So she was very angry, and when I was speaking about it on a CNN show, by the way, which was interesting, but I was speaking about her, I said blood was pouring from her eyes or out of her eyes, which is a very common statement. And by the way, I said the same thing about Chris Wallace.
That's right.
Nobody said anything.
You did.
But I said the exact same thing about Chris Wallace.
But then you said she had blood. You said blood coming out of her wherever.
I said no. I said and blood was pouring for wherever. Because I wanted to finish the sentence, because I went on to something. I wanted to get off of the whole thing and get back onto the subject of jobs or whatever we were talking to about right after that. So I didn't even say anything because I didn't even finish the thought. I was going to say nose and or ears because that's a very common statement. Blood pouring out of somebody's nose. It's a statement showing anger. She had great anger when she was questioning me, especially since I mentioned something. That was the Rosie O'Donnell statement, which everybody said was by far the loudest applause of the entire day of all of the speakers.
Well, Mr.
and I
Trump,
think you would agree.
let me ask you.
And she became very angry, and
Right.
all I was doing is referring to anger. I said nothing wrong whatsoever.
So Eric Erickson.
And by the way, Jake, let me just say this: only a deviant would say that what I said was what they were referring to, because nobody can make that statement. You almost have to be sick to sort of put that together.
Well, among that list of deviants would be Eric Erickson, Jeb Bush.
Well, take a look at his past.
Lindsey Graham, Carly
Jake,
Fiorina.
Jake, Carly Fiorina. Okay, I mean, give me a break.
But why do you think so many
conservative?
Why do you think so many of your fellow colleagues, fellow candidates, so many conservative commentators are saying that they don't believe your explanation?
Because they want to be politically correct. They want to get points. I'm leading in the polls by a fortune. They wouldn't, by tremendous margins. They wouldn't have had, you think they would have had 24 million people watching that show if I wasn't on? If I wasn't on that show, Jake, in all fairness, and I say it in all due modesty, you would have had 2 million people, not 24 million people. And you can ask any expert about it. But 24 million people was not there to watch Carly Fiorina or Jeb Bush, or Lindsey Graham, who, by the way, has 0 in the poll.
Let me ask you a question, sir.
He's been my biggest. He has been my biggest critic, and he has 0 in the poll. And by the way, came to me asking for campaign contributions and everything else. People don't say that. Perry of Texas, he started attacking me quite viciously. And he went down in the polls, Jake. So, I mean, you know, this is one of those things that I have to put up with.
Let me just ask you a question, sir. Do you, I understand you're saying that you did not mean to suggest that Megyn Kelly was having her period. You were saying...
Of course I did, Jake. Who would say that? Hey, Jake, I went to the Wharton School of Finance. I was an excellent student. I'm a smart person. I built a tremendous company. I had a show called The Apprentice that NBC desperately wanted me to do another season.
I'm familiar with your work, sir.
Okay, I do all this stuff. Do you think I'd make a stupid statement like that? Who would make a statement like that? Only a sick person would even think about it.
Why do you think that there are so many people jumping on you stating that that is what you were saying? So many, and we're not talking about, in all due respect, sir, we're not talking about the Women's Studies Department at Oberlin. We're talking about conservatives. We're talking about the Concerned Women for America issuing a statement saying, quote, every presidential election since 1964 has been carried by women. Women don't like mean, and we certainly don't vote for men or women we don't trust. A lot of conservatives really upset.
So, Jake, you're asking me why are these people coming and saying this, right?
Yeah.
And most of them are most of the ones that I've seen on television, just opposing candidates. I'd say it's a stupid question, Jake, in all due respect. If they're running against me, some of them, like Carly, are very low in the polls. I hope she goes up. I'd like to see her go up, actually, but she's very low in the polls. Lindsey Graham, all these people that came out, they're running against me, Jake. They're running against me. I would say it, too, if I was at 1% or 2% or 0%. I'd say it against me because, I don't know if you just saw, but North Carolina, South Carolina just came out. Massive leads. Nevada, New Hampshire. I'm winning big in New Hampshire. Winning big in Iowa. Winning big. They're incredible people. Winning big in Iowa. Winning big all over the place, Jake. Georgia just came out, and the national polls, I'm winning by double digits.
And this is what's
so
interesting.
Then you ask, why are these people?
Well, I didn't mean your opponents. I meant conservative activists, people like Eric Erickson, the conservative.
Because a lot of them are for other people. Jake.
Okay.
Eric Erickson, I hear. I mean, look, he has such a spotty record. Have you seen what he said about women and other things over the years? I've seen things that he said where he was admonished. But look at what this guy said. The guy's a loser. He's backed so many candidates that have lost. And frankly, I didn't want to do his event in the first place. Somebody said, and you know what? It was even a small event. And tell me, what happened at his event when I didn't show up? Do you know the unrest? And do you know how devastated people were when I didn't go there?
I wasn't there. I know. I'm sure
unhappy.
there were people that were upset about it. You have a lot of fans. This is what's interesting about your campaign. Every time you make these comments, or you make comments that a lot of pundits or Republican candidates say are going to end your campaign, whether it's comments about Mexico sending in illegal immigrants or your comments about John McCain's war record. Every time you do that, pundits say, oh, he's gone, and then you go up in the polls. I'm wondering if you think, though, that going after Megyn Kelly, who is beloved by conservatives, beloved by Republican voters, I wonder if that's the wrong target, that this might actually hurt you. What do you think?
Well, look, I have nothing against Megyn Kelly. I think her question was extremely unfair to me. Her whole questioning was unfair to me. And when you say beloved, I will say this. On social media, I'm the one that's beloved, okay? Because if you look at social media and what's happening, they are really coming out strongly in favor of Donald Trump. They agree. And this whole thing with this political correctness in this country is out of control. We have a country where you take a look at what's happening over the world. They're chopping off people's heads if you happen to be a Christian all over the Middle East, and for plenty of other reasons, too. The border, I turned out to be so right on the border. It's so dangerous and so bad. And then you see what happens to Cade in San Francisco, where people are crossing the border like it's water. And it's terrible what's going on. And all we worry about is political correctness. Jeb Bush, who came out horribly with the women issue the other day, with the women's health issue. Jeb Bush comes up and he says, I don't like Donald Trump's tone. Well, we need a tougher tone in this country, and we need a lot more enthusiasm because these people don't have any energy. There's no energy. We need to bring our country back, make our country great again. Our country is going down into the ground. We're really getting decimated on trade deals. Everything we do, the Iran deal is so bad. We have people that are incompetent running our country, and we have to bring it back. And you can't do that by nice, low-key tone like Jeb Bush. He's got no energy. I mean, the man has no energy. And then he gets up and criticizes me over the weekend about something that I didn't even say.
Very interesting. Donald Trump, as always, we appreciate your calling in. We appreciate your taking my questions. I hope you have a good Sunday. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Jake. Great honor.
Appreciate it.